All right, so we're back again, working on DailyJoule. Like I put in chat there, it's React, Redux, tRPC, Prisma, TypeScript, Material UI. Not a lot of RxJS anymore, just a tiny little bit, because a lot of that got replaced with Redux. We're using Storybook. We're using GitHub Copilot to some extent. VS Code, also GitHub Actions, and releases and packages and all sorts of things in there. And what we're doing today is we're continuing to so we were working on this issue, which was the serving number is missing on initial load of the edit consumption page, and there's actually more to it than that. Right, so we were looking at this. Let's get over to VS Code. There is an update. We'll do that later. All right, so what's going on here? Git status. Okay, so I think, did we open a pull request with that change? Did that pull request get closed? Maybe not. Where did it go? So there were like two issues. One was, okay, so what we're talking about here. Let me actually start the application here locally. It helps if Docker is running for to start containers. All right, so we were working on 268. Serving number missing on initial load of the edit consumption page. Now, the way I recalled it, do we have multiple, do we already have commits in here? So we only have uncommitted changes. Hold on, let me just close everything. All the things, just close them all out. So where do we leave this? So we were looking at, we were looking at pre-populating container sizes for food items when they're being imported into the system. What we had been doing before, is Docker running yet? Yes. All right, it's helpful to have the application actually at hand to talk about this stuff. Except it doesn't start because I have broken things. We have the actual deployed site, right? There we go. So like if we look at a food item here and we want to add it, one issue was that we didn't have a 1 here until we focused and blurred the field. I feel like I thought we had addressed that. Or we had started to address that, and we were looking at a bigger issue. Okay, this is not gonna work, so let's close that. Was that right? I think that was in this page, right? So in our consumption organism level component, we had switched from using an empty string to using null to signify that the user had not entered a value yet. So I think this change is good as is. Like what we could do is actually 268. That's this issue. So the other issue that we started to look at is this one. Fix issue with container size selection and population data when food is imported. So we're gonna work on this next. Let me go ahead and get this one change committed. So we'll stage that. I don't think anything else is related here because this is where we're starting to modify the database model and migrate it and add utilities. So we don't need any of those things. So we're going to push just that one change for issue 268. And get that pull request going. And we'll auto merge it. And we're going to start working on 270. So we're going to go back to main. And we're going to work on 270. All right. So, right. So I've described what the issue was for 268, where the initial field was blank, even though it should show one there. The other issue, 270, is because what we had been doing, so the data model for food items that are imported. So, as I think I've described a couple of times, but I'll say again, the way this works with the food search is that the application has a database. We have like a Postgres database where we have local copies of food items. So like these organic ginger cubes and all of their stats. What stats there are. There's some carbs, there's some calories. There are serving sizes. Well, that database starts empty because I don't have that database. And instead of doing like an import where we like go to like, there's a website and service called Open Food Facts. There's like the USDA has like a database of food items. There's various sources of data. Rather than doing like some kind of import process and then maybe syncing it in like a big batch job, what I decided to do kind of for now is have this so that there's two modes to searching in DailyJoule. So there's a quick search, which happens when you just type something in here. Like if we cancel this and we type, I don't know, probably shouldn't throw an error when the user clears the field, but anyway, if we searched for peanut butter, right? So we get some results here, and this is pulling from our Postgres database. If we click Show All Results, or we click the search button here, then this makes a different tRPC call to our backend, which then queries Open Food Facts. And when it does that, every time it does that, it merges the information it gets back from Open Food Facts with what's already in our database, updating existing items and creating new items that aren't there so that future requests for anything with the word peanut in it. So this is a quick search. So this is not talking to Open Food Facts, but it did get all of these things from Open Food Facts that didn't have before. So we are incrementally adding more things to the local database, attributed to where they're coming from. And we can sync, so we can, if we do a full search again and we see the same item, then we can update that item. So that's all well and good, but that's how food items are getting into the database, our Postgres database. And up until now, we have the serving size information, which if there was serving information from Open Food Facts, we will have an entry here for the serving size, and we'll also have a 1 gram entry. And these things, there is actually a table in the database for having serving size information, but we have not been populating that when we're importing food items. And instead, what we've been doing is having the front end essentially on the fly generate these two entries. If it'll take any ones that are in the database, and then we'll add these two, like one for the serving size and one for 1 gram. If there's no serving information, then it will default to 100 gram as one unit. it does that, and then when we like add this to our diary, then at that point, if those units don't exist, then maybe those things get populated in the table. But I think that's not happening, and I don't think I want that to happen. I don't want it to work that way. Instead, what I want to have happen is when we're importing the information from Open Food Facts or maybe from other sources, we're populating the serving sizes in the database for each item. So the front end only has to get that information from the back end, and it doesn't have to like add any additional things on the fly, and it doesn't have to then like communicate back, oh well, here's some other serving size, some thing to the back end. Because what are we going to do? We're going to add that to the database associated with the food item. We don't really want to do that. So that's all the background for this issue. And we started working on this last time around. And what we had done was we started by changing the container size model. So this is our Prisma schema, defining like what is the shape of our database. And so we, ignoring the formatting, the main thing we did here is we made it so the label is optional. So there might not be a label. And we did include this Boolean is serving size. So the container size, and so container sizes are linked to a food item. So a way of thinking about this is that a food will have 0 or more, but hopefully probably 2 or more, but the model says 0 or more container sizes associated with it. And what I realize here is our unique constraint is wrong now, because label is no longer a required field. Do I want a unique constraint? Is that a necessary thing to have? So where are we looking at container sizes? In that form, not a lot of places. What about with the lower C? So in the front end, we're looking at some information. In update consumption, which is a tRPC procedure, we are creating a container size. So this is something that we want to get rid of. So we're gonna say to do remove me before committing or merging. Okay. Because we don't want to on the fly change container sizes. Instead, we're going to change this so that if we want to update the consumption here being the word that I'm using to describe the idea of here's a particular food item that was eaten as part of a particular meal on at a particular time, right? So when we're consuming something, we are eating, some units of it. And we can use a container size to indicate that. That's that serving ID. Right. So what we really want to do is we want to have it so the front end is calling this procedure and it's specifying the container size every time inside of input. And it's never null or what have you. So that is a thing that we will need to do. So here, right, so something we had done last week was in food upsert. So here is where we are searching really just open food facts by the barcode for a food item. And so we get that item via this function here, and we get that into result. And then it'll be a single item. And so we'll upsert it. We'll say, find the existing item that exists by UPC. that was created by this user, and then if it doesn't exist, then we create it. Otherwise, we update it. Right, and then I added the to-do here. Handle update case for container size updates for serving size. Right. Okay. So that was a thing. And then that was the to-do I just added. Let's open this file. Keep that open. So in utils.ts, we'd added this function. Extract food container sizes. So this looks at the food item we're getting back from Open Food Facts and is generating the kind of default container sizes for new food items. So the update case is going to be kind of interesting, but we'll look at that. Okay, so I think we have. Well, we need to go back to the schema actually, because we need to look at this unique constraint. Now let's compare this to what we're doing inside of utils. So essentially, once we apply this change, every food item will also spawn 2 container sizes. This one has a size of 1 with no label, so a null label, and another one with the size of food.serving size with the label serving, and is serving size is true. So I think this would comply with the unique constraint. It seems. But we wouldn't be able to add any other unlabeled sizes. So maybe this is fine. There's not a place in the app right now to be able to customize container sizes. That's not like a thing that is currently supported. Probably will want to do that. Well, it's interesting. I guess I think that's fine because the container sizes are linked to the particular food item, and the food model is linked to the originating user. See, created by. Because while it's a thing that we probably want to do something different, where we say created by is null or the system or something for things that are imported from Open Food Facts or something, especially if we're not allowing users to customize the fields here before they import. Maybe we do want to allow users to edit these values on import, or like make a copy that's owned by the user, something like that. But that's the idea. And then we have like a verified flag to say, okay, this is a known good item, like these are good values. Just kind of as future proofing, and then we use this to like control who can update the food item. So yeah, anyway, I was saying the container sizes are linked to the food item. So if the food item is like something that was created or imported by a specific user, then that user kind of effectively, transitively owns the container sizes as well. Okay, so that's a lot of words. It's a lot of stalling. Let's see, how do we actually do this though? So maybe the create case for UPC, and there is another store procedure, I will also say, besides the UPC one. There's the one where we're searching by text, but it's similar. It's just that there will be multiple results that we'll have to handle. So at least for this procedure though, for the create case, so we found the thing by UPC. We have the food item. We are arriving at these container sizes, and we're saying create these records. And they will be automatically linked to the food item because Prisma handles that by creating it. That's why we're doing this in here instead of like having separate calls to context.prisma.container size. So for update though, we have this that handles updating the food item. But presumably we want to, so the create case looked like this before, I believe. No, maybe it didn't, because we had the verified and the created by it. So maybe it wasn't like that. But I think we want to actually make an update like this as well. And then what we can do is for container sizes, what do we want to do? We want to upsert. Something like that. So what is the shape of this upsert? So if we look at this, so upsert takes a type, which inside is a container sizes upsert with where unique without food input. So we have a where created, create and update, just in the same way that we have like a where, a create, and an update. Except this is a list of them. So we're essentially saying for each container generated by this, we can generate a separate where, create, and update clause. So we can search by food ID and label. Is interesting. I don't know how that would work. Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. Like, we don't have the food ID here. Connector create is the wrong option. So connector create does, it like tries to see if there's a record that already exists that can be connected to the underlying food item. Or otherwise it creates. I think we want upsert, right? So we want to, or maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Maybe we want update. If we had update, see, that's wrong. It needs to be an enumerable of thing. Serving size is not assignable to type. So the type for update is this thing, which has a where and a data. And so we either need to have a food ID and a label or an ID, but we're not going to have either of those things, right? Maybe we do need to change the schema a little bit more to be able to essentially, Let's look at the docs. Maybe there's not a good way of doing this, but let's see. Prisma docs. Let's see. Reference. Client API. So we have this thing where we're updating, we're upserting on this food record, and then we want to, inside of the update, we want to update this other record that's related to it. And it would be nice if there was a way for us to do that without, like, here, let me pull the schema over here. So we have a food ID, right? So if there's a way to just look at the result of processing the result, in other words, look at the generated food sizes, container sizes, and figure out where that would map to records in the table using the related food ID. But I don't know if that is doable. So nested queries. Create many, set. So what does set do? Set overwrites the value of relation, replacing a list of post records with a different list. Right, but we'd have IDs here. So what does upsert do? What does it describe? How is it how is it described? A nested upsert query updates a related record if it exists or creates a new related record. So here they're using user and profile, whereas we have food and container size, right? So we are yeah, updating the existing user record by updating the profile record it's connected to or creating a new one. Update. So presumably the profile record has a bio that it can use to find the thing. Like, oh, I wanted that actually. There we go. So let's imagine this, and then update, create. So that's not good enough. We need a where. This doesn't have a where. We have a where here, but this needs a where. Why does this not need a where? Updating the existing user record by updating two post records it's connected to or creating new ones. Oh, this probably doesn't need a where because this has like a one-to-one relationship. Like a user has one profile and a profile has one user. So this maps closer to what we're trying to do here. Unfortunately, a where clause for us is going to be like, oh, you need to provide what? I don't get autocomplete. Come on, you know what the type is. This VS Code knows what the type is. The issue though is that we don't have the food ID, right? So we can't really do that. We can look at the type of where though. Maybe. Nope. Can't infer that far, but we can look at container sizes. Why? Oh, right, we're missing a curly brace. There we go. Huh. Why is it decided that I can't go to definition anymore? Odd. Let's restart PS server. Like it would make sense if there was like you know, some kind of typo. It would give up. I'm not sure like this was working before. Map, container sizes, upsert, update. Okay, well that works. Let's see, can we look at? Nope. We're just not allowed to look at the definition of this anymore. That is unfortunate. What if we do this? Nope. Okay. I guess that's as far as we can go there. Okay, so what was the error with Docker Compose? All right, so unable to compile TypeScript, error arguments, all the things. Property label. String or null is not assignable to type string. Yeah, let's stop this. It's just going to keep on looping. Get consumption.ts. Line 26. There we go. Right. So the type is wrong now. This can be nullable. The label can be, because we changed this, and so that's the error. What other errors? None, as far as that's concerned. Okay. So how can we test this? Yeah, what we don't have right now are any kind of like back-end integration tests. So really the only way to test all this is to exercise it by going into the web app. Which is, you know, it's a small project. All right, so we're gonna, oh yeah. That's gonna be fun. Git user media is not supported. How long has it been since I've actually tried to do this? Well, that's fun. Yeah, cancel. Okay, maybe starting with the UPC one was not a good idea then. Let's do this. Let's go over to the find external by name, and we're just gonna reproduce this chunk of code. Right. So this is fun because, I mean, it's basically the same code except that it happens inside of a transaction where we map over the results and we do upsert on all of them. So, yeah. Can you, are we importing from utils? Yeah. I don't know why it didn't just, like, suggest importing that. Right. So, let's do some renaming here. Let's see here. Rename this to results. Rename this to result for consistency with the other code. And that's the update case. The create case should also be copyable. Like so. All right, so now these things are in sync. Now, maybe this is telling me that this should be refactored, but maybe if we had a third procedure. It's too early to try to refactor that into a common thing, in the sense that we have two examples of this. We don't have a third example, so it's difficult to say if the third time we wanted to do the same thing would be very similar to these or very different. And I think it's the benefit of not having to do that update twice for things that are right next to each other that are very explicit about being kind of different paths versus having something more complicated where we like take this upsert and put it in a different file and then we have to look and coordinate between those things to understand what's happening. That's the trade-off, right? So anyway, right, so we don't, unfortunately we do not have a way to hot reload or otherwise restart the backend. At some point, I do want to give Bun a shot. I have some tabs. You might have noticed. There we go. I have a couple of tabs for Bun related things. I don't know. I mean, if there was interest, we could play with it now. But that's kind of a diversion from the thing that I was about to do, which is to restart. Can I widen actions here? Aren't there more actions? Nope, I can't. I can't make that wider. Okay, cool. Can we restart backend? Do we... Okay, we do still get logging from that here. Good. Okay, so back to the app. So this code, so if we search for anything, what if I, thank you for moving my cursor. Okay, organic ginger cubes. I want to have kind of a, I was going to go for kind of a, I don't like that. So a peeve of mine is when you're interacting with the UI and it changes out from under you and it changes the meaning of the thing that you're inputting or doing. And to have the thing that I made do that to me, it's not okay. So what are we going to do about that? Well, we're going to create an item here. Ensure that the cursor in the search box for adding food items does not get disrupted by search activity, by quick search, auto refresh things. All right, just building those issues. It's not too bad. We have I also have an icebox column with many more things that are less pressing. Okay, so if we do a full search here, this is where we're going to talk to Open Food Facts again, and this is where it's going to do the upsert and it's going to fail. So why did it fail? All right, so argument update that container size is the upsert sub 0.where needs at least one argument. At least one. So we need to either specify the ID or the food ID and the label. We don't have the food ID. And we don't have the ID either. So that's a problem. Right, and I guess we could continue looking at the docs. Maybe there's some way of representing that. I'm going to guess not. I think if there's a different way of doing this. The issue is that we don't have the ID, and we're not going to have the ID. There's just not really a way around it, is there? Container sizes are specific to the food item. Here we go. If we could have a way of addressing the parent item to leverage our unique constraint so that we can indicate the item, that'd be great. We still don't have autocomplete here, but we know that we want to have, I mean, the closest thing we could get is food ID label. If I could just type it though. Of course, we don't have the food ID, but we have the label. Now we get an error. There we go. Property food ID is missing. Let's see. What exists out here? Filter on non-unique fields. What's this? Is there, so really what I'm looking for is if there's a syntax or a way to express the idea of like we're doing this update and then we're updating container sizes. Can you figure out what you're updating? And for that record, grab the food ID and put it in here. And I feel like that is, I have my doubts that such a thing actually exists. I just don't have any better ideas of what we could do without doing something more complicated. So nested create query adds a new related record. Maybe we should look at working with relations. I know, reading documentation is probably needed. Update an existing user record by creating a new profile record. Create many. Nested reads. Nested reads allow you to read related data. Sure. Relation count filter nested writes. Allow you to write relational data to your database in a single transaction. Transactional guarantees. Yep. Update all related records. update a specific related record. Add new related records to an existing record. Relation filters. Find many. Include Fluent API. Okay. So I've just not seen anything that tells me that this is possible to do directly. Like there's no magic food ID is oh yeah, like that. That's something that Copilot just hallucinated for us. If only. So instead, we have some options. One option is we just forget about the update case. We say, look, whatever is there is there. We're not going to support updating container sizes once the food item is there. That means that anything that we've already imported is just not great, but could be manually fixed up. We could make like a fix-up script, or just wipe the database. Because we don't have any real users except for me right now. So that's an option. Yeah. The alternative would be we could break this out. I mean, we're already in a transaction. We could do transaction, same sort of transaction thing over here, and then, you know, make multiple passes. Be like, okay, for the food items that we're updating, what are the container sizes? Are there any that have matching labels? Update them to this for each food ID. You know, basically take this data and aggregate it for each result. And then take that and do an update inside of the transaction. Like you could take, I mean, results that map here. So this is a list, right, of promises or whatever this thing is. I wonder, can you update? I mean, this shows updating 3 user accounts, but can you update different kinds of records in a transaction? I'm not sure if the type would be friendly for that, but ignoring that, if that would actually work. But we're not going to do that. We are just going to update the food item and ignore the containers. Now, that does mean we're essentially not going to support if the serving size information from where we're pulling the data from changes, updated the container size. And perhaps, you know, if I don't know. I mean, I think long term, if this were to become like a commercial scale application that had, you know, it was making money, let's say, one way or the other, maybe having it dynamically pull data from other services would not be a good solution anyway, and we would stop doing this. And then all of this detail of like syncing stuff from other sources would become more of a like an offline batch job thing anyway, and maybe even like curated, hand reviewed, something. I don't know. But that's not the reality of the situation. That's not what we're doing, and not dealing with updating the container sizes when records are updated does definitely make this easier, right? So then we don't do this, and the job is done, right? So if we see a new food item, we will add the container sizes for that food item, and otherwise we don't need to do anything. So then we need to update the UI to use this information instead of generating the container sizes ad hoc. So where does that, where do we need to update that? So that's in this view, and however it's getting the data to do its thing, right? So, like if you look here, if we were to close all this out, click add to breakfast, we can see here we do call foods.get, meals.get. We are, I think this is all inside of that consumption component. Yeah. So we are theoretically getting food container sizes already here. So let's try this. So if we were to go over here and search for, let's see, let's click cancel to get us out of that view. All right, so we have no food items in the DB matching Snickers. So if we show all items, so we're gonna query open food facts. That failed because container sizes upsert and update. All right, so we need to, we made the change, but again, we don't have hot reload for the backend. So we're just gonna restart the backend. All right. Well, we are maybe about 10-15 minutes out from the scheduled end of the stream. I said this at the beginning of the stream, but we are most likely, like 90-95% sure, there won't be a stream next Sunday or the rest of next week. So there will be a stream tomorrow in the evening and Wednesday and Friday, but not next week because reasons that I won't get into here. I clicked the wrong button, didn't I? No, I did it by name. Different error now. Created by ID. Created by. Unknown are created by ID and created by ID for food create input. Interesting. So yeah, so I what was I gonna say? I don't remember where I was going with the statement, other than the fact that there won't be a stream next week, but there should be one the week after, in which we'll be continuing the normal things we do. So first half being Minecraft mod dev, and the second half being more work on DailyJoule, and the work will continue until I stop hating trying to use it. I have actually been using it in the last week, which is actually somewhat usable, a little bit usable, but it needs a lot of things. Right now, I need to figure out what even am I doing? Create, convert food to DB, created by ID. Why doesn't it think there's a created by ID? See, it's right there. Created by ID. Unknown are created by ID in create created by ID for type food create item. Did you mean created by? Maybe. Created by? Is this an object? Does it have an ID? Connect. ID. Is that what it's supposed to be? Why did it change? Interesting. This was working before, so why did it stop working? How long has it been broken? How many times have I asked myself such questions? All right, so yeah. Oh, started. Right. Let's try searching again. An error occurred. Create.label is missing. Interesting. Okay, all these things are optional, and that's all well and good. That is interesting. Why? I guess we found a food item that didn't have a label. Not talking about this label, but for food. And that label is required. So our convert food to DB record here. So we are getting API food. So let's see, where is result coming from? It's coming from search foods by name. Just ignore all the warnings. Pass that to convert label. So we don't have a product name apparently. We're supposed to, but we don't. So I think if we don't have the product name, we're going to default to the brand. Otherwise, we're going to default to unknown to ensure that we will always have a label. This is so we've learned something here, which is that where is it? Product name? Product name can be missing. That's what we've learned. So we'll update our type that represents the what we're getting from Open Food Facts to reflect that. And then we need to restart the backend again. There we go. Right. Server started. All right, so let's try this again. All right, we got a bunch of things. So if we open this one, we got an error. Excellent. It's progress. We got an error that was, oh, hey, Brainless. How's it going? Just joining or been lurking? All right, our validation here is wrong now. Doing well learning Rust. It is interesting. Just joining. All right, all right. Yeah, I have someone opened it. I think I said this on stream at one point weeks ago. Like a couple of months ago, I guess now at this point, which I feel maybe a little bit bad about. A couple months ago, someone opened an issue about one of my open source repos on GitHub, which is a Rust library, and I have been thinking about it. So maybe at some point we can switch things up a little bit and look at that. Probably not today, because I do want to get some lunch here pretty soon. But yeah. Worth mentioning. I mentioned it before, but you weren't there. I will not be streaming next week. Just as a heads up, you have 10 hours of Rust in you. Yeah. But I will be back the week after. And yeah, not going to talk about details until the return. But yeah, I'll have to figure out. I know there's like a vacation mode for the schedule in Twitch, so I'll have to figure that out at some point. What am I doing here? All right, so the validation is busted now because we assumed that label could not be null somewhere. What procedure is this? This was in foods.get. Get. So we said that the output is food output with ID, which is a food output schema. This is all Zod definitions. But label can be nullable now. And we have a new thing on the container size as well, which is a Boolean is serving size. Right. Okay, so let's again restart the backend. Restart. There we go. Yeah, I've not done too much with Rust. I had that one library that was kind of my learning project for Rust that I worked on. Boy, it's been a while. It's this linear assignment Rust repo. So this was 4 or 8 years ago. I guess I started 8 years ago. Yeah, this is a not even really a port. I have a so this is the implementation of the Monkrez linear assignment solver, but in Rust. Oh, you've been using doing LeetCode? Yeah. What's the other thing that I think of when I think of like doing those kind of like here's a bunch of problems to try to do programming language on? It's Project Euler. Yeah. Project. Yep. I haven't been on there in a long time either. Yeah. Okay, did we restart? Did that happen? I lost context. Where is... Here we go. Okay, so we're going to search. There we go. We're going to click plus. Maybe this is going to work. Nope, error. What kind of error was it? Is serving size required? Okay, so the issue now is that we've added is serving size as a thing that we're supposed to be returning, but we are not fetching that in Git. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so in here, okay, that might work. Restart the back end again. Restart. Any plans to use Vim for developing the site? Well, I think I said before that there was a point in which Vim was the editor that I used pretty much exclusively. I think it's hard to go back. That there are certain things we're not doing a lot of one specific thing here, but thinking about like using Vim for like doing the Java, like the Minecraft stuff, like trying to do interactive debugging. I'm sure it's possible to do. In fact, I feel like I've done that before. Again, this was all like 8+ years ago. But it's just another thing to learn, which is not a bad thing. In fact, that's a lot of, I feel like that's like a good portion of what I do on stream is just learning things. But I don't know. I'm not gonna commit to switching to Vim anytime right now. I am definitely going to have more time for more things come the holidays, since I have like a month and a half off of work. All right, so this loaded. Oh yeah, sad. I know. We'll see. I'll keep trying. I pulled it up the other day. I looked at it for a little bit, and I think that's starting out on anything. That's probably, or restarting, I guess in this case. Just a little bit at a time, nibble away at it. Okay, so this loaded. So we have servings. Okay, so we have one serving, 50 grams, and then we have serving. The thing that we can do now is, right, so we have this container sizes thingy, and we can remove all of our manipulation of container sizes. And then I think we can just, if we get rid of this, no, I guess that's fine. I guess we can do, if we did this, okay. I mean, it's not possibly undefined, but we'll do that. Okay. What's the problem here with size? Okay, so right, our types are a little off because label might be is optional now, and then we also have a is serving size. It's a Boolean. All right, there's a bunch of stuff, well, a bunch. Two things that we're importing here we don't need anymore. Get rid of those things. What's the error? Size. Right, it's nullable, not. You happy now? Yes. All right, at least the front end, we don't have to restart anything to see. Right, so Snickers. Right, and now we get a, wasn't that what was I searching for before? Oh, right, okay, well anyway. So, now we have no options here, apparently, because our request for food information, it has container sizes. So this is the data we're getting back. So we have one item, label null, size 1, is serving size false. And then we have label serving, size 50, is serving size true. So this data is correct. What we need to do is have the dropdown actually show that information correctly. Okay, so this is the easy part. We got the data, now we just need to present it. Let's see. So where are we showing? Not in here. This is the loading component. Just facts. Okay, none of this. None of this. Where are we using container sizes? Here we go. So here's where we're formatting that. Okay, so I don't know that we want to use label as the key either. Now that we're definitively getting an ID, a real ID, we'll do that. And then what we want to do is that if label is null, we kind of want to do size. The size of the size, which is 1. There was something we had in this code before that I think we'll probably need to have back, which was all the formatting stuff. This stuff. Yeah. Let me think about this. I think what I want to do is we're going to make a function. Format container size label size. Something like that. And then we'll make that function. Okay. We'll eventually make that function. Format container size something. If you could complete that for me. There we go. And this will return a string. Right, and then we want to just do that there. Okay. So if is serving size, what we really want to do is we want to return like container dot label, and then yeah, something like that. But what we want to do is we want to say const formatted size is that container dot size const fmt equals, I mean, that's good. That's a good guess, Copilot, but we actually have a function for that. Or we did before I removed it. Right, so we also needed the food. The food. There we go. And then we need to import that. It's not the right kind of import anymore. We changed it. All right, there we go. We're getting some errors. That's nice. Get unit type label. Also, we need, oops, wrong key. Update that import. There we go. Formatted size. So then we want to use this here. We can also say, we can just default to the serving. Should be something like that. There we go. And now the dropdown says 1 serving 50 grams or 1 gram. All right, isn't that nice? We don't need, well, here's a question. I guess this should be more like, don't need that. We want to do label. Yeah. Okay. Why did we need a serving size again? It's not clear to me, but oh yeah, we don't want one container though. So if label is empty, we want to do something slightly different. We just want to return formatted size, I think. There. All right, there you go. A Snickers. At least whatever size Snickers this is. 1 gram of it, or not size, but you know, whatever the exact like UPC of it is. 1 gram is 5 kcals. The formatting here is kind of weird. I see. 1%. Oh, it's because I don't have any carb goals here, I guess, in my profile. All right, and we're fixing this issue in the other pull request. Okay, so I think this actually this works. It's not going to fix any of the existing imported items that don't have the right container size. Let's see what that looks like. So if we click cancel, I'm going to look at our ginger cubes. The classic. There we go. I guess there is one container size record for the cubes. The label must say 1G. I'm not gonna fix it. That's just a data issue. Okay, so we're gonna commit this. Yeah, beautiful. Great. Ship it. You know, we're not too far away from the I say we, the channel. Us collectively, this channel is not too far away from being a Twitch affiliate. Just need 11 more followers and to keep the average viewer count up, at which point, where am I going with this? At which point we can do like channel point redemptions and sub goals and those sorts of things. So maybe that can be incorporated. Like I've seen things where, you know, you do like channel point redemptions to like switch background lighting, but what about channel point redemptions to switch the editor that's being used? I know for the Minecraft stuff we have we get that community content popcorn. Yeah, community content. What is CCI? Yeah, it is CCI, right? To make it so that you can we have that pull request. There we go. 270 is the new one. To make it so that we can have things happen in the game for like follows and channel point redemptions and all sorts of things. So stuff to definitely think about when presumably that happens. I mean, we're on the path. Followers just people keep following. And, you know, if it keeps up, we're going to get there. All right, so we have this pull request. We have the other pull request that we opened earlier. I think we're waiting on... Okay, I think some UI things changed. So bright. All right, what is it? What does it think changed? Okay, that's not helpful. Is there a change? They look the same. Oh, the one there. Okay, that's great. That's what we want. 1, check. Great. 1, great. All right. Yeah, there was a visual change. We fixed the bug. All right, and it's merged. All right, and then we'll update this branch. All right. And there I go, getting emails. Do we want to rate someone? We got a couple people here. We could send you somewhere else. What's the issue here? If serving size is missing in type, required. Edit consumption, line 51. Edit consumption. 51. Okay. All right, something that we need to update there. And container size. There we go. All right, fix missing the serving size. Push it. Let's see, who am I following that's live right now? Let's see if I can do this without having stuff autoplay. Ooh, so let's see. No one I'm following is doing coding. Let's see. Any good coding streams going on? Interesting. Web development? Anything with that tag besides me? Hey, a couple. They all have a lot more viewers. So it would be cool to, you know, we have like a lower number. Nope. Okay. Any suggestions, Brainless, for someone to raid? Ooh, learning Rust at the bottom. Let's yeah, let me see here. Live channels, viewers, low to high. Is that NeoVim Rust? Language Dev all in one? Daily Code X? Oh, that was cool. Yeah, we can make that happen. Oh wait, but the person I'm looking at is doing Rust and NeoVim. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah. Just give me a minute to. All right, this is pushed up. Maybe our PR will be good. It's set to auto merge, so I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks. if this all went to plan. But yeah, this is going to be it for today. I'm going to kick that rate off. And we'll come back. Yeah, you as well. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks all. Until next time, take care.